Are you tired of boring plain tote bags? Or maybe you're on the hunt for a fun and easy DIY gift? Well, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to show you how to transform an ordinary tote bag into a unique piece of art with block printing. Ready to get creative? Hello everyone, I'm Ranjitha and welcome to my art, craft and DIY channel. If you love creative projects and want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Let's dive in and make something amazing together. Firstly, when we decide to do block printing on any type of fabric, we have to first prep our base. For that, I am taking these old bed sheets and layering them one on top of the other so that I have a proper cushioned bed as a base to do my block printing. This is very important. You have to prep your base properly so that the blocks print well on your fabric. Make sure that there are no creases on your fabric and the fabric lays flat. So now that our bed is prepared, now let's go ahead and prep our base on which we have decided to do the block printing. For today's tutorial, I am using a plain tote bag. However, you can do it on t-shirts, bed sheets, curtains, name it, but preferably cotton fabric. But whatever is the base, make sure that it is free of starch and has no creases on it. This is very important for your printing to go well. You can also use bases such as these simple pouches. You can also use them on t-shirts. Like I told you, any base is good. If you want to do it on a trial, then go ahead with some old t-shirts or bed sheets, and that is a perfect way to practice this beautiful technique. So as I have shown you, there are no creases on this tote bag and I have ironed it well and it is free from starch. Now that we have prepped our base, that is our tote bag, now let's go ahead and check out what we are using. So here we are using these beautiful blocks. These are very easily available in any art and craft store or Amazon as well. I will share you some links for some beautiful blocks in the description below. You can check them out as well. But before going ahead, you have to prep your blocks. By prepping, I mean that whenever you buy new blocks, you have to soak them in oil for overnight. Just take a plain plate and just add some oil onto it on a thin layer and dip these blocks overnight. This coats the blocks evenly with oil, and that way the wooden blocks do not absorb the paint that we are using and give a beautiful impression. This prepping of blocks is very important, and please do not skip this step. So our blocks are ready, and before going ahead, I would recommend that you roughly estimate your design or plan your design on your base. You can also cut a sheet of paper in the same size and make a trial on that, or you can just plan your design mentally. So that will help a lot, because this is a process that cannot be erased or it cannot be undone. So planning your project plays a very important role in this. For this project, I am using these column blocks. So the bigger block, I will be using it on the dark band, and the smaller block, I will be printing it all over the tote bag just to give it a contrast effect. And for the paints, I am using the regular fabric paints. These are the best ones that you can use when you're doing it at home and on a small scale. I'm not using any dyes here. In case if your paint is thick, please do not dilute it with water. Use this called medium. There is something called medium. You have to use this to dilute your paint. Please do not use water, as it will spoil the life of the product. So now our base is prepared, our blocks are prepared, and we have also come to know what materials we are using. So now let's go ahead and jump into the DIY project. So here I have taken white paint in this container. This is very important. Make sure that you take little amounts at a time so that your paint doesn't dry. Now that I have taken my paint, I am also using this simple sponge that I have bought it in a local hardware shop. Alternatively, you can also use sponge brushes. I have linked to the sponge brushes in the description below. You can check them out there. But if you cannot source sponge brushes, this simple sponge is best. You can use it. Why I am using sponge is because we do not want blobs of paint to stick onto our block. So for that we will be using sponge to dab onto that. If we dip our block directly into that, then there will be a lot of paint that goes in between the design as well, and it will give a very blotchy outcome. So for that I'm going to take sponge and dab the paint on the block. This way all the excess paint will be taken up by the sponge and you will have an even surface on the block. So this is how I will be doing. I'm going to dip the sponge in the paint and then dab it all over the block. Make sure that you apply evenly and all the surfaces of the block are covered with paint. Now let's go ahead and try it on a scrap piece of fabric. Make sure you press it evenly, even pressure on all sides. Don't give pressure on only one surface. This is where our bed plays an important role. If you try to stamp with wooden blocks on a flat surface, your result will not be so perfect. So for that you have to prep your base with at least 3 to 4 layers of fabric. Now I'm going to repeat this process again. As you can see, I'm just dipping my sponge in paint and then I'm coating it all over the block. And now press it firmly. Make sure that you give even pressure, and once when you remove it, perfect print every time. So you can see the close-up as well. It's such a beautiful print. Here I'm using column designs because I wanted to give it a traditional look. However, you can use the blocks of your choice. Now I'm doing the same process again. I've loaded my block with paint and I'm placing it on one side of the border, giving firm pressure and then removing it. You can see it is a perfect impression. Now I will not be making the impression immediately next to it. Here is a small tip. Anytime you want to do even distributed stamping, then always do it on both the corners. So as you can see here, I'm not printing it in the center. I'm using it on the other side of the border and I'm placing it. Now whatever space is there in between, I will use it to make the next stamp. That way we will not have any crowding and our prints will be evenly distributed. I hope you can understand by what I'm telling. So here my impression is done again, my print. Now the third block, now I will judge whether I can do it once or twice. So here if I do 2 prints, then it will become very crowded, so I didn't want that design. So I'm roughly estimating the center in between these 2 prints and I'm placing my block, giving a firm pressure and removing it. So this is how you will judge your distance between each print. Please don't try to print it one after the other. That way there is a chance that some prints might be close together and some might be far. Now for the second block, I've mixed this brown color paint. So for that I've used red paint and brown paint in equal quantities and I've made this color. And I'm loading the smaller block in the same way. I'm dabbing my brush in the sponge in the paint and I'm gently pressing it on the block. Now I'm going to print this brown color on the white parts. So I'm trying to put it in middle of these 2 big blocks. I hope you can understand. So the technique is same. Just load your block with paint and then press it firmly onto the surface. Give even pressure. Make sure that you give pressure on all sides, corners and the middle of the block because your pressure decides the quality of the print. I'm doing the same thing again on the entire tote bag. So I'm taking the distance in between these 2 main blocks just to give a little symmetry to my design. You can go as random as you want. The choice is entirely yours. There is no right way or wrong way of doing it. This is just my preference. I like it to be symmetrical because column is all about symmetry, and I thought I will replicate that as well in my design and distribution. So I'm doing the same thing in the bottom of the tote bag as well, but this time I'm placing the block in the opposite direction. This is such an easy and simple DIY project. Even kids can do it. All you have to do is just help them load their blocks and you will be surprised with the results that kids would achieve. They will love stamping onto their t-shirts or pouches, name it. The projects you can customize using blocks are endless. Now you can leave the tote bag as it is, but I thought I will go a little further ahead and print it on the remaining part of the tote bag as well. Be careful while you are painting. As you can see, I've made a mark here, so don't be messy. Be careful with your fingers, because the paint that was on my finger made a mark on the tote bag. I'll see to cover it in somehow, but this is a very important lesson. Please be careful. Don't try to spill your paint or add blobs of paint and spoil your final project. But at the end, all you have to remember is this is a handmade project, and little errors will add to its beauty. This is not a machine made product, and please don't stress yourself trying to make it very perfect. These little imperfections is all that makes the tote bag beautiful, isn't it? Won't you agree? So now I'm again repeating the process. This time I'm trying to cover up that paint mark. So I'm carefully placing my block in such a way that I can cover up that paint mark to an extent, and I kind of successfully did that. That's it, our tote bag is ready. You can leave it as it is, or you can embellish it even more further by adding mirrors or any other elements. So now I'm going to quickly do another tote bag. It is such an easy process that this is perfect for even bulk gifting as well. So if you're planning a party at home or a puja at home and you want to make some customized return favors or pouches, then this is the best way. All you need is a few blocks, a base to stamp on, and some fabric paints. Quickly you will be able to make a bunch of them in no time. And this is not a very difficult technique that you need some artistic skills. This is just basic beginner friendly project that anybody including kids can make. So as you can see, in less than 20 minutes I've made 2 tote bags. Stamping it one last time, and this finishes this bag as well. I really loved the outcome. The bags turned out very beautiful, and the column blocks are giving it such a traditional look. These are perfect to gift to elders as well. Now that we are done with our project, I have an important thing to mention here. Please make sure that you clean your blocks right away when the paint is still wet. This will preserve the blocks and keep them long lasting for a really long time. It is not enough if you buy good supplies, you also have to maintain them in a proper way. So all I do is place these blocks under running water and make sure all the paint is gone and washed off. If you find it difficult, then use an old toothbrush and then just brush it in between the design. Make sure that all the paint is gone. You can do this only when the paint is still wet. If you leave the paint like that, then the next time you print, you will not get such crisp and beautiful designs. So after washing it and cleaning it with a brush, all I do is I just add a little bit of oil and coat my blocks with it. This preserves the blocks and keeps them for a long time. So here is our final outcome. I really liked how beautifully these tote bags turned out. I hope you liked this video and you will also give this technique a try. Do let me know in the comments below what you want to learn next. If you like this video, do consider subscribing to my channel. I will be back soon with another interesting video. Bye.